Okay, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Tuesday edition of Morning Scone, presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com, Restored Motions, RestoredMotions.com, and ProCharge EV, ProChargeEV.com. I know it looks like we got a late start today. It's because I got an early start today. Already had to get up and take Drew to go do blood work this morning at 7 a.m. at the Baton Rouge Clinic. So been there, home, now going to go, we'll do about 20 minutes here, I'll get Drew to school and then get about my day. So anyway, thanks for being here. Saints signed Derek Carr, obviously the gigantic news. So we'll talk about that here. Spent a lot of time on AFR on Monday discussing it. And I think there's a lot of layers to it that such that the conversation and maybe my opinion around it has been skewed, distorted, misunderstood. I think most importantly, there are a couple of things. One, the Saints are, I'm going to say this a million times over because I know what's going to happen. Saints win games, Derek Carr will play well, they'll win a game with over 300 yards. We go, oh, Derek Carr. And the Saints are better with Derek Carr in 2023 than with any other realistic option they would have had. Okay, I don't know if I could say that any more plainly. Saints are better in 2023 with Derek Carr than any other option they would have had. The Saints are now the favorite to win the division. They should win the division. They should be a wildcard team. That's great. It'll be a lot more fun watching a team win the division, go to the playoffs, than be very bad. No doubt. I also believe that Derek Carr is past his prime and is not going to be a championship winning quarterback. He has never won a playoff game in his 9 NFL seasons. He's coming off the worst statistical year of his career. The team that drafted him, made him their franchise, went and got Devontae Adams a year ago, his college teammate, who at the time you could have made an argument was the best receiver in the NFL. And after that, even with Josh Jacobs at running back and all the weapons they had, Darren Waller, Foster Moreau, they were awful. And he had the worst season of his career. So I think Derek Carr still has gas left in the tank. I just believe he's Jay Cutler. He's a good starting quarterback in the NFL. He's not a championship quarterback in the NFL. I think the Saints maybe are hoping that this would be like the Matthew Stafford to the Rams situation. The biggest difference is the Rams are ready to win a championship. All they needed was Matthew Stafford. Because remember, Stafford at that point in his career had not won a playoff game with the Lions. I think he'd been 4 times with the Lions and never won a playoff game. So he goes to the Rams, wins the Super Bowl. Well, the Rams are ready to win a Super Bowl. I mean, they had Cooper Kupp and Van Jefferson and Odell Beckham and Cam Akers and Andrew Whitworth. They were loaded. And defensively, they had Aaron Donald and Von Miller and Jalen Ramsey. I mean, they were a loaded team that was missing quarterback. The Saints are not a loaded team. The Saints have question marks all over the roster. And they're poorly coached, and they're not close to winning a championship. I think that's a big, big difference there. And so, on AFR I posed the question, will the Saints win a Super Bowl with Derek Carr? And I think some of the pushback I got to the question was, well, if that's the absolute, that's the only measure of success, then I think Jimmy was saying this yesterday, then 87% of the league is failing. And I'm not saying you have to win a Super Bowl with Derek Carr for it to be a success. The point I'm making is, let's go back. The Saints were in this win now mode with Drew Brees for the end of his career. And I was perfectly fine with that. I was perfectly fine with the Saints taking the approach that I could live with the result because they did everything they could to try to win a championship with Drew Brees. They were all in because they felt like they had the quarterback in place and they were willing to leverage the cap and kick the can down the road because they were a piece away. So if it meant restructuring deals to keep this guy or to get that guy, they did it because they felt like if they won a Super Bowl, it had been worth it. And they just came up short. They just came up short. But I was okay with the approach. And so if the Saints were going to go all last year, I was perfectly fine with them going all in on Deshaun Watson because I feel like you can win a Super Bowl with Deshaun Watson. And that's ultimately the goal. It's not to say you're going to, but can you? And like, is that player capable? And my point with Derek Carr is he's not capable. And so some of the pushback I got was, you should have said, can he as opposed to will he? But the can he could be a 1% probability. You say, well, you're telling me there's a chance. But that's not realistic. So, no, I don't think Derek Carr can win a Super Bowl. I don't think he's capable of winning a Super Bowl. And so that's the point I'm making. And it's not just to say if you don't win a Super Bowl, it's a failure. But I need to believe that stars align, you play your best, you can win one. And you're trying to win one. And I don't believe that's the case. I believe the Saints are going to be good enough to not be awful, but not good enough to be a contender. And that's not a fun place to be. So, and the last thing, I'll get to your comments. I'm really genuinely not trying to debate or convince anyone of my point of view. Really. Because I don't think there's a right or wrong. It's just, what is your individual preference? If you're okay with the Saints being 9-8, 10-7, hovering perpetually around 500, making the playoffs, whatever, but never really being in contention, okay, that's your preference. Cool. I'm not okay with that. I want to see my team win a championship again. And in order to win a championship, you have to have a championship caliber quarterback. And Derek Carr is not that. The only way you're going to get a championship caliber quarterback is some bizarre scenario like the Deshaun Watson thing, or you draft him. And the Saints in their history have only drafted a quarterback in round one time. It was Archie Manning. That's it. The Saints by far have the fewest starts in their franchise history by quarterbacks drafted by the team. So I'm just coming at it from a different perspective, I think, than a lot of people, and that's okay. Again, I'm not trying to tell you you're wrong and convince you why I'm right. I'm just sharing my opinion on the matter. That's really it. So they're still my team. I love them. I am going to cheer like hell for them and hope that Derek Carr proves me wrong and they go win a Super Bowl. But I get paid to give opinions and to be honest. And I'm looking at a guy that's going to be 32 years old, that's coming off the worst season of his career, that's joining a team that was 7-10, that's got a head coach that is 15-38 as a head coach, and has cap issues, and I don't believe is anywhere near contending. Okay. All right, let's say some good morning, see what y'all got. By the way, I have pinned in the chat the Best of 225 link. Your boy was nominated for Best of 225. Very grateful. I feel like someone said yesterday, Matt, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. I've been nominated probably 10 times for Best of 225, which is always humbling. I've won one time, and I feel like I'm runner-up every year. I was runner-up last year to Murphy, Sam, and Jody. And I get it, it's tough because 225 readership tends to skew female, so Murphy, Sam, and Jody kind of, they're on 96.1 The River. They're going to get a lot of votes by default because of the readership of 225. But I think 225 magazine is awesome. I love that they do Best of 225, and I'd love to win, quite honestly. So you see I have a plaque up there from 2020 when I did win Best of 225. So Best Radio Personality, and 104.5 ESPN has been nominated for Best Radio Station. So if you could vote, you don't have to live in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. You just have to have a valid email address. So, hey, buddy, what you doing? You want to come say hi to Dad's show? Come see out at that show. Drew had to go do blood work this morning, so we had to get out of bed early, because we had to be at the Baton Rouge Clinic at 7 a.m. for his blood work. So we had to get up early today, didn't we? We had to be there at 7 o'clock, huh? Okay. Huh. Drew wasn't feeling good. We had to go pick him up from school yesterday, so we had to do some blood work. Huh. Is she okay? I'm so proud of you. Yeah. Okay, we're going to say some good mornings. Kelly Gross, Mark Vitanovich, good morning. Ryan Amanda Guidry, hey Dad, good morning. What's going on? Mark, please discuss the travesty regarding the CBI, possibly. Yeah, Detroit Mercy. So I talked about it last week, Mark. I know there's some people pushing for the CBI not to invite them or for Detroit Mercy not to accept. For those that don't know, Antoine Davis is like 3 points away from breaking Pete Maravich's all-time scoring record, despite having 2 extra seasons to do it, or really the COVID season. So 1 extra season, but Pete did it in 3 years. You okay? Oh, you tired. Oh, you tired. I know. You had to get early. He's falling asleep on the show. It's okay, my baby. Need some coffee? No. You can sleep on Daddy. You want Daddy to hold you? I'll hold you. You can sleep on me. Okay. You can take a little nap. My baby. I love you. I love you. You can fall asleep on Daddy. You can take a little 10-minute nap. All right. Ryan Amanda Guidry. Sorry, read that one. Trey Patan. What's up? Casey Landrum. Wish the Saints would just take their medicine and suck for a couple years, finish paying all the dead money, draft a franchise quarterback. You know what, Casey? They could. And I want to be one more thing about drafting the quarterback, because the counter argument that I always hear is, well, there's no sure thing in the draft either, and that's true. That's 100% true. We did this exercise a few weeks ago in AFR, and we looked at all the first round picks dating back to I think to 2010, first round quarterbacks, and it was me, Musso, and Paul. We went around the room. We're like, okay, was it a hit or was it a miss? And it was actually like 30% that were hits, not even championship, but just guys that became really good starting quarterbacks. And so, yes, there's absolutely a chance you could use a first round pick, and it could be Mitchell Trubisky or Zach Wilson or Sam Darnold or any number of players that bombed out as first round picks. But what I also know is that if you don't use the pick on a quarterback, you don't have the chance of drafting Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen or any number of players that are franchise quarterbacks, and you're also not going to win a Super Bowl without a franchise quarterback. So you got to swing. You got to swing the bat. You got to go up to the plate and swing the bat. And the Saints just aren't willing to do that. So it's a bummer. Damon Gilmore, good morning. Tim Gotro, what's going on? Jason H, good morning, Matt. 2 questions. Do the Saints still draft Hooker? And there's a chance the Saints release Michael Thomas and re-sign him. Do they still draft Hendon Hooker? I don't know if the Saints like Hendon Hooker. So I would let me answer this way, Jason. I would love for them still to draft Hendon Hooker. I also have no idea if they have any interest in doing so. And Michael Thomas's response yesterday on Twitter certainly seemed like he was excited about playing with Derek Carr. So I think there's a good chance, if the market isn't robust for him after the Saints cut him, that he resigns with a new deal. Wendell Norman, Brian Wynn, Jesse Brown. I was waiting for the red-faced rant on AFR. I told you I wasn't going to give you a red-faced rant yesterday. There was no reason to yell and scream. I mean, Derek Carr is a good player, and he's going to be a better option than the Saints had. The problem is you're adding a guy who's past his prime to a team that's not ready to contend. You would have to add Patrick Mahomes to the Saints team to make them any type of contender. Let's see. Trivia Carter, AFR needs a comp of all the color commentary best line this year. My 2 favorite are, this team's hotter than a Rolex in a pawn shop. Ball hung up in the air like a Chinese pipe. You're talking about Lynn Rollins, yeah. Elster Baseball won last night. Another run rule win. Nice to see. Thatcher Hurd was on fire. Alex Barnes, Michael Thomas making it sound like he wants to come back. Is that real or ploy? No, I believe he would. I believe he would love to be back. It's just what's the market going to be for him? Hunter Broadhead, Matt. Good morning. Love Derek Carr move. Okay. Glenn Garner, Carr for real. I've been punching myself in the nose since I watched AFR. Don't punch yourself in the nose, bro. Jesse Brown, Wacky Chris, morning, Matt. Excited about the Saints' new car. What happens with Mike Thomas? Yeah, man. I mean, Michael Thomas tweeted, "Thank you, Jesus," after the Derek Carr news. I mean, look, on March 17th, he's going to be cut. Okay, that's going to happen. They're not before March 17th. They're not going to pay him a $31 million roster bonus, so he's going to be cut. And then he will be a free agent, and he will be free to sign anywhere. But there certainly seems like there's at least some interest in having him re-sign and come back to the Saints. Matt Plavidal, morning. Hell of a past 2 days at the post office. Worked almost 10 hours on Sunday till 8:30 last night. Thank God I'm off today. Enjoy that day off, Matt. Glenn Garner, I would have preferred Jimmy G. I wanted Hooker. Might still get him. Jesse Brown, Matt, with the addition of Carr, it'll be interesting to see how the Saints draft with the 29th and a high second. I agree. I want Darnell Washington. Seems like they always draft defensive ends that don't pan out. Well, they have drafted Marcus Davenport and Peyton Turner, and those have not worked out. Cam Jordan worked out. The Saints do put a heavy emphasis on the line of scrimmage, and I'm good with that. I'm good with trying to win at the line of scrimmage. But you can't neglect the most important position on the field. So Drew had a little episode yesterday at school, which necessitated the blood work today. So I think my little boy's just tired. Had to get up really early today to go do blood work. And he doesn't have good vasculature, so it's hard to find veins. It's a little bit of an ordeal. So he's tired. He's a good boy. Larry Gardner, Reed Rule, Brad David. Do you think LSU and Arkansas was a good rivalry? A lot of Arkansas fans are upset it's ending. Yeah, Brad, I mean, we talked about this a bunch over the years. It's fine, but for Arkansas, when they came into the conference, they needed a rivalry, a permanent opponent. LSU didn't have a true natural rival like Alabama, Auburn, or Florida, Georgia, or whatever. And so, Georgia, Auburn, Bama, Tennessee, Tennessee, Vandy, whatever, the Egg Bowl. And so they stuck LSU with Arkansas. And so Arkansas really latched onto that, and LSU resented it. So I don't think LSU fans really care that the game's going away. That has always meant more to Arkansas than it has to LSU. Troy Abear, Reed Rule, morning Scone. Think a change of scenery will do well for Carr. Get him out of murders row in the AFC West. Now, that's true. He's leaving the toughest division in football for the worst division in football. I do push back on people who say, well, he was in a terrible organization. I'm not going to sit here and tell you the Raiders are a model franchise, but the Raiders did move from Oakland to Las Vegas. They have a palatial new stadium, great facilities. They brought in an offensive-minded head coach. They went and signed his college teammate, who was, I could have made the case a year ago that Devontae Adams was the best receiver in football. So I'm going to push back a little bit on that. And it's not exactly like the Saints with their awful cap situation, horrible head coach, are exactly the model franchise right now. They had as good a quarterback coach combo as you could ever hope to see for 15 years. Those two guys have left, and it's pretty clear that this organization just isn't the same without Sean Payton and Drew Brees. Trey McCain, good morning. Please smash that like button if you would on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel, Facebook. Please like the page, share the post. Like the page, share the post. Brad David, what made LSU baseball so good in the 90s? Skip Hartman. Troy Abear, Drew Brees had below 500 seasons because the defense was atrocious, kind of like all of Carr's career. Troy, there's a big difference. There's a massive, massive, massive difference. Are you ready? It's a massive difference. Even in those 7 and 9, 8 and 8 years in New Orleans, Drew Brees was thrown for 5,000 yards. And he went to an NFC Championship game in 2006, won a Super Bowl in 2009. So even in 2012, when the Saints had the worst defense in the history of the NFL, they went 7 and 9 because of Drew Brees. That's the difference. And at that point, Drew Brees had been to one NFC Championship game and won a Super Bowl. And in 2011 was coming off really what was the best team, best offensive season in the history of the NFL. So that's where I'll push back. If you're trying to compare Drew Brees to Derek Carr, brother, you're swinging and missing in a big way. Put Derek Carr on the 2012 Saints, they're a 4-win football team. That's the difference. Do you have any tattoos? No, I do not. Raiders are a bad organization. Already addressed that. Jason, I mean, that's scapegoating that's going to make you feel good about yourself. You know who's a bad organization? You know who's a terrible organization? The Cincinnati Bengals. They won a Super Bowl 2 years ago. Why? Because of Joe Burrow. Don't give me the bad organization thing. Great players overcome bad ownership all the time. Do you think his coach in Las Vegas affected his down year last year? You can blame Josh McDaniels, but you gave him an offensive-minded head coach. So we're going to blame the coach. How do y'all feel about Pete Carmichael? You think Pete Carmichael is going to maximize 32-year-old Derek Carr? Got it. Mark Allen, would the Saints even be in contention with a rookie? No, Mark. No, they would not. And that's why I'm very clear to point this out. In 2023, the Saints' best option at quarterback in 2023 is Derek Carr. I believe that. He is their best option to win the most games possible in 2023. Better than Garoppolo would have been, better than a rookie quarterback, better than Dalton or Jameis. Yes, best option to win games in 2023, Derek Carr. That's not the question. It's not, could a rookie quarterback win a Super Bowl in 2023? My point is, if you draft Joe Burrow, are you giving yourself a trajectory to where you can win a Super Bowl? With Derek Carr, the floor is higher. This is the way I'll say it. With Derek Carr, the floor is higher, but the ceiling is lower. You draft a rookie and you start him, the floor is lower, but the ceiling over the span of his career is exponentially higher. Now, could he bomb? Could whoever you draft bust? Absolutely. Could it be Joe Burrow? Could it be Josh Allen? Could it be Justin Herbert? Could it be fill in the blank? Could it be Patrick Mahomes? Sure, could be. But you won't know unless you draft that player. That's the difference. Is too many people are afraid of that unknown. And I'm saying without that, you're not winning a championship. And that's really what I'm after. Not to win a championship. The Saints aren't winning a Super Bowl in 2023. I know that. But I want to know that they're progressing toward that. And as long as Derek Carr is their quarterback, they're not progressing toward that. They're stuck. They're in neutral. Trey Potan, Casey Landrum, Brian Penton, Truax, what's up? Let's see, 808, got to get going. Ryan Amanda Guidry, agree with you. He improves our quarterback room, but will never get us a Super Bowl. Whose phone is that? His phone is ringing. Trey Potan, go to sign him on a shorter deal, letting him redeem himself or giving him all that money. You know what, Trey? I don't know what the market would have been for Derek Carr. And the way that the Saints have outs in the contract, people seem to think that it makes sense financially. My point is, you're already a cash-strapped team, and I understand Kai Harley makes the cap work. I understand all that as well as anybody does, okay? Can you make the dollars and cents work? Yes, you can. But should you? Can I go out today and spend $50,000 on a brand new car? Sure, I could. I could finance it and buy a new car. Should I? I mean, that doesn't make sense financially. Can I? Yes. Should I? No. So, the Saints are under contract. They got Carr. Look, after 2 years, you could potentially get out of the deal after 2 years. After 2 years, that third year, his cap hits $45 million. The dead number is $17 million. So after 2 years, if he stinks, yes, you could get out of it. I get all of that. But where are you then after 2 years? What have you done? You've delayed the inevitable by 2 years. Anyway, all right. It is 8:10. I'm going to have to get going here in a second, y'all. Appreciate y'all for being here as always. Smash that like button. Subscribe up to the YouTube channel. Brought to you by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. Phone is ringing there. Maybe that's an alarm. I bet he turned on an alarm. Brought to you by the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. If you need an orthopedist, go to Brock. Brought to you by Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. You need a roof, call Hudco. Restored Motions, RestoredMotions.com. And ProCharge EV, ProChargeEV.com. One more reminder here for those just jumping aboard with us. Hey, buddy, you ready to go to New St. Lillian? Okay, my baby. I know you're so tired. He did not want to wake up this morning. To get him out of bed so early. Pinned there in the chat is the link for Best of 225. So if you would, take a quick second, click the link and vote. Your boy's nominated for Best Radio Personality. Would really appreciate if you just take a quick, all you need is an email address. You got an email address, but it doesn't matter where you are in the world. Just click the link that's pinned in the chat there. Vote Best Radio Personality and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge for Best Radio Station. Would appreciate your support very, very much. Okay. I got to get going because I got to get him to school. Got to get him awake, and I got to get him to school. So y'all have an awesome day. As always, thanks so much for watching. We will see you for LSU Daily is already live. We'll see you for AFR at 3. Have a great day. Peace.